YouTube fam, how's it going? Don't mind me. I was just sipping on a nice cup of Snapple Apple. It's a go-to, a favorite. But this week, Snapple Apple aside, I wanted to talk about something called unbecoming, or it's more of a thought, idea, or an action. So I've been thinking about my own journey, my own life, and it made me think of this book that I read recently. It's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's a really awesome book. But one of the main takeaways I had from it is that he talks about this idea that we have these agreements that we make with ourselves, in our mind frame, and it's basically like a bunch of social contracts that tell us how to act with ourselves in the world. But he also goes on to mention that many of these agreements don't serve us because we are taught growing up from our parents or friends or influential people in our lives. They taught us these agreements that we made with ourselves because of what they said or what they thought, their ideas. But when you're born, you come into the world a completely unique person, and you have your own identity, personality, and what makes you you. But then as you grow older, you kind of lose a part of that. If you're lucky, you keep it all, but for most of us, we more than likely lose who we truly are, our true selves, as we grow up in age and meet different people and make these agreements with ourselves. But the awesome part about these agreements is that you don't have to keep them forever. You can actually break them down or retool them to more accurately fit the picture you have for your life, or your current self, or your true self, once you slowly start to work your way back towards it. So that was a big revelation. And then I also read this thing by Paul Coelho. I'm probably saying that wrong, but if you've ever read The Alchemist, that's the guy that wrote that. And he came up with this really awesome quote, this idea, and it basically goes like, maybe the journey isn't becoming something, but unbecoming everything that you aren't. And that made me think, once again, on my own journey, and I was just reflecting, and I was like, man, I feel like I bounce so much between one thing and another, trying to decide my direction in life, and I'm not getting super consistent with any one thing, because I feel like I don't know what my true purpose is yet, or what I should really go after, because maybe I don't even know myself well enough to decide that. So it made me think, unbecoming everything that we aren't. Well, what parts of me am I identifying with that don't serve me, or aren't my true self, or came from other people that are now influencing who I am or who I'm trying to be, and I don't really want to try to be anybody. I just want to be myself, so that I can get true clarity, true purpose, and find that thing or those things that really fill me up. So that's what I've been pondering over, unbecoming what I'm not, and shedding the weight that you build up as you grow older and take on all these agreements. And then I came across this awesome video by a guy named Nathaniel Drew, and it was a video called How to Reinvent Yourself for 2022. I'll link the video down in the comments along with the 4 Agreements book, and a post I made on LinkedIn writing about unbecoming and all that. But in the video Nathaniel drew about how to reinvent yourself, he poses a few ideas that you could write down in a journal and really analyze yourself. Just go over them and try to reinvent yourself. So I'm going to share with you guys the questions that you could put. Then I'll share some examples too of what I wrote when I was delving into this. So I got my handy dandy journal right here, and the first question is, what am I afraid of right now? And if you're like me and you probably don't know yourself at all, I was like, man, at first I was like, what am I afraid of? Because I'm like, man, I'm not afraid of anything. But I feel like part of me saying that is just like covering up these surface issues, which turn into bigger issues down the line. So I just want to, from now on, I just want to completely be myself, break down these barriers I have within myself, so I could convey myself truly and authentically. So what am I afraid of right now? And one of the first ones that I wrote down was not living up to my potential. And that was something that I didn't even think about before, but just writing it down and really racking my brain and really cutting off the fat and figuring out what I was afraid of, even though I thought I wasn't afraid of anything, was super helpful. And then the second question is, how am I allowing this to alter my actions and decisions? Talking about what you're afraid of. And one big revelation that I had with myself is that, I was talking about earlier, I feel like I never commit to anything wholly because maybe I don't know myself as well as I think I do or thought I did. So I said, I'm so afraid of failing that I don't allow myself to get started. I feel like, pretty much everybody has this problem, or a lot of people have this problem, that we think we have to be perfect to start something, or, we have to know so much before we get started, but really, just doing the work, just trying and taking action is what's going to advance you. So I was afraid of not living up to my potential, and that I was so afraid of that failure that I wasn't even getting started, or I haven't been doing that. So now it's like, now that I know that about myself, I could take steps to remedy that. And the third question is, how am I taking things personally? So this is another concept from the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and one of the 4 agreements is that you shouldn't take anything personally, which means, basically control what you can control, and anything outside of yourself you can't control, or you can't control, what people think, what people do. So don't take anything personally. So how am I taking things personally? A realization I had, because I didn't even know myself. I always tell myself, I don't care what these people think, or I'm just gonna do me, blah 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 blah. But I wrote down, I was really thinking about it. I was like, you know what, I care what other people think about me. As much as I try to hide it, deny it, not confront it and just say, oh, I'm not afraid of that. Well, I do care what other people think. So that's a way, just realizing these little things about yourself that you tell yourself that are lies or that are not true. Really getting to know yourself, I think, is a big first step to figure out how you can fix it and do that inner work to become the person you want to be. And the question right after that is, how can I let go of that? So how can I let go of caring what other people think about me. And the thing that on that question, how can I let go of that? Well, I realized I'm super self-absorbed, man. I have a super big ego. I think, whatever someone does, it's a reflection of how they think about me, right? But then you gotta think, or the way I'm thinking about it is that if I'm that way, and I'm so into my own problems, my own life, everybody's struggling, we're all in this together. We're all on our own journeys to figure out what fulfills us, what excites us. So I was like, man, people are way too busy with themselves to care about you. This is me talking to myself. I'm like, dude, you need to stop taking things so personally. People don't care that much about you. You're way overanalyzing everything, and people are, they're thinking about themselves, not you. And then the next question is, how can I remember that others' actions are just a reflection of where they're at in life? And then the first thing I say is lead with empathy. I mean, just like the last question, thinking about others in the same way that I think about myself. So I know I'm super important to myself. Everybody else is important to themselves. For me, I just have to be empathetic with people. Understand that we're all on this journey together. We're all on the same mission to find fulfillment, find happiness. So don't think things personally, just understand where everybody's coming from. And then this question is really big for me. It says, what are 2 to 3 big decisions in the coming months that I could focus on and prepare as best I can for? And my 3 big decisions that I've decided to focus on, and I'm gonna really nail these down, is the first one is take care of my body and mind. Because I don't know about you guys, but I know whenever I'm doing the best, I'm expressing myself, I'm in tune with myself, I'm treating myself well, mind and body, meditating, journaling, working out, eating good, stuff like that. My second one is prioritizing my sleep schedule, because right in the past, I'm getting better, slowly day by day, I'm getting 1% better. But like the past year or two, I've had terrible sleep habits. Like, when I say that I would go to bed at 6 a.m., stay up all night, go to bed at 6 a.m., and then wake up at 10 or 12 or 4 p.m., like, that's not exaggeration. So my sleep schedule has been terrible, but I want to prioritize getting 8 hours of sleep a night, which I always do anyway, but I really want to focus on going to bed at a specific time and waking up at a specific time, and then no electronics 2 hours before bed, because that's a big thing that impacts your sleep. Makes it harder to go to bed. So that's the second thing I'm working on. Then the third thing is to cut out distractions as much as possible. So, and the way I broke it down is, like, what you say, what even is a distraction, So I broke it down as, is this action helping you move forward, stay still, or setting you back? And I said, prioritize things that will move you forward. Use your best judgment on staying still, because at the end of the day, you have to live life and just get 1% better each day. So as long as you do that, you could relax a little bit. And then make sure to eliminate things that set you back. So something that would move you forward is, going for that workout, doing that laundry, writing that poem, going for the walk, hanging out with your family, spending time with your family, making that call to your loved one that you haven't talked to in a while, reaching out to a friend that you haven't talked with, making a YouTube video, things like this. The things that, that'll keep you staying still. And maybe they'll be productive because after you've done the things that have moved you forward, you can calm down a bit, relax, like maybe watching a show before, before dinner or something, or after dinner, or just relaxing, laying down, listening to music, or reading a book for enjoyment. Things like this. Maybe they're not pushing you forward, or maybe they are because you're building those habits. Like if you're reading for pleasure, you're building that habit of reading. But yeah, so that's why you just have to use your best judgment, because they're not necessarily the hard work that's going to really push you, but it's good to, take your time for yourself. And then things that would set you back, I mean, we all know the things that would set us back. Doing this exercise with the journaling was huge for me because I started to realize like what's really important to me. And then the final question is, what decisions am I putting too much importance on? And I kind of already went over this, but one of the biggest things for me is just starting and just taking the action. So I said, what content to make? That's a decision that I'm putting too much importance on. It's like, dude, just freaking create something. And then I wrote more, but then at the end I said, you know what you need to do. Just trust yourself and go for it. So that's what I'm focusing on. These questions have been super impactful for me. I hope they will be impactful for you. And at the very least, even if you don't answer these questions yourself, I hope you could, just start to try to become your true self, and try to unbecome the things that you're not, so that you could be more in tune with your true self, your true purpose. Because at the end of the day, I think we all just want fulfillment and happiness, and that's the journey that I'm on. So I hope you'll join me. Until then, just keep on getting that 1% better each day, and know that I'm rooting for you and that I love you. So see y'all next video. Peace.